Welcome to 12 Hours in the Future with Maria Sanchir. This is part 2 of my conversation with actor Steve Zahn, that you know from movies like Tall Girl, Stuart Little, War for the Planet of the Apes, The White Lotus. Tom Hanks recently gave an interview because of Elvis, and he said that that thing you do was almost a ballad. A song was slow ballad.
Oh, right.
And he almost like gave an iteration of
Oh,
that.
wow. Yeah. I, re-
It was
yeah,
amazing.
I remember hearing some different versions of that song.
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, yeah, one of them is slower, and I think it's actually in the credits. That, yeah, yeah, it was a lot slower. I remember when we were before we were shooting and we were in pre-production, and they were playing us different. Bands would just send them their version
Hmm.
of it. And I remember hearing the one that we were using, and we were unanimously we're like, "Oh wow,
Like, this one.
yeah, that was so fun."
I remember I saw the making of that thing you do. And you spend a month together preparing as a band, right? For it.
Right?
Not like doing lines or anything. You were just playing. It was so
Yeah,
amazing, so inspiring.
yeah.
But then Tom Hanks was asked about casting, and he said, I was all about that guy that is my favorite. And he went straight to you. Did you know that? It's like Steve and then Zahn. I was just making sure that he went, he just read he was my, top choice.
Yeah, that was. I remember when I got that gig. I was up for a movie called um, it was an Ed Zwick movie about Iraq. Matt Damon got the part. It was me and Matt Damon that were up for it. Courage Under Fire. And I was really bummed out about it, not getting it. And then right after I lost that, they were like, "Hey, will you do this just do a table read this
Mm-hmm.
movie?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, sure. What is it?" And they were like, "It's written by you know Todd Smith or whatever." And then I went to the thing. I had no clue. I went to the thing, and it was Tom Hanks and Gary Getzman. And so
Right.
I was very nervous. But I did the read through, and then that's how I got the part. So I did.
Right.
So I was asked to drive into the city an hour and 15 minutes to just do this random person a favor by reading out loud with other actors. No
Mm-hmm.
money, no pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I did stuff like that all the time because you don't know, right? I could have easily said, I'm going to go fishing tomorrow. I'm not in the mood. And that would have altered my career. But that would have altered my career, right? So it's interesting,
Sure.
it's like, and that was about the work. That wasn't a dinner. That was
Mm-hmm.
about the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every opportunity, man, go and kill it.
Can you tell me about a little bit about the War for the Planet of the Apes? Because it wasn't a usual acting, wasn't it? Because it was motion
Well,
capture, and on top of that, you're an animal, and
yeah, it
you
was
know.
pretty layered and really complicated. But it was actually the closest thing that I've done film wise that was like theater.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And
How
and
interesting.
and I the idea of being in a gray unitard with all these dots on you with a camera and a helmet, and then
Mm-hmm.
to create the movement of an ape, because they can make you look like an ape but not be one, right?
Right.
And then the scenes that we were doing were kitchen sink. They were like real dramatic, you know.
Oh yeah.
So in a way, in a way, it was. I thought it was going to be much more technical. I thought it was going to be, before I went there, I thought it was going to be, just kind of robotic and weird and green screen, and I had no concept of what was it. And then in reality, it was like doing a play, and we would do scenes over and over again. We would rehearse scenes, and all about emotion. It wasn't about chimpanzee. It was about character, you know.
Right.
It was beautiful. And Andy Serkis is just one of the best actors I've ever worked with. I mean, to be able to do that and be that convincing it's really hard work. I'm very proud of that. You know, I'm very proud of it. It was painful, and it was just
right.
It was really brilliant. And you know what? If I didn't have the experience in theater, if I didn't have the experience I had in the kind of theater that I was baptized in, which was at the American Repertory Theater with Robert Brustein and with Cherry Jones and Tommy Dara and Alvin Epstein and all these all these amazing directors and Andre Serban, doing this really complicated, wild, Suzuki movement, and yet everything based in kind of like this raw realism. If I didn't do that stuff, I don't know if I could have done Planet of the Apes. I really don't.
For people who don't know, your character is the bad ape.
Bad ape, yeah.
Yes, it's, oh my god, it's like this is like, I'm a movie buff, so I watch movies like crazy. I rewatch them, like I would rewatch movies like 10 times if I have to, if I love it so much. But War of the Planet of the Apes is one of the movies that I cannot rewatch. It's too heart wrenching, simply, isn't it? It's such an, oh my god, especially your character is so, it's just painful.
Yeah, he's a great character. Yeah, I was and that movie, I think that movie's great. I mean, it's like watching some spaghetti western meets King Lear. I mean, it's really heavy and there are scenes that go for 5 minutes, where two carry, just like I was really impressed with it. Yeah.
Matt Reeves is amazing.
Matt Reeves is insanely good. Yeah.
Andy Serkis, in preparation for King Kong, because King Kong was his first ape, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he said that he spent so much time in a zoo, preparing for the role. And there was a female gorilla that once he came to the cage with his wife, and she was jealous. Have you heard that?
Oh, far out, because he was always
there. Gorilla was jealous because he spent so much time there that she's, it was like crazy.
Probably doing it. And I remember because my character came from a zoo. I was constantly watching on YouTube chimpanzees in zoos, and fascinated with I was fascinated with the videos where a chimp would just sit and just be, exist, and stillness, and I was fascinated with that, and that's what I studied. The movement is one thing. With like Terry, we would and that was difficult, but it was the embodiment of that animal that was really interesting and hard to get. A chimp, when we look at stuff, it's different than when a chimp looks. It's much more controlled. There's something. It's the tiniest thing, but it's insane. And once you find that, you're like, this is great. I don't know, it was
Oh
a
my
fascinating job. And here I was like in this apartment in Vancouver, like,
God.
walking around with my extended arms and like, climbing couches and stuff. I'm sure people that could see were just like, because I couldn't do it in public, because,
Uh-huh.
they were really kind of strict about that. But anyway, it was really fun.
Yeah, everything is hush hush. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, oh my god. Oh my god, thank you for that. I've heard one actor saying that worst director's direction that he had was something like, why don't you try something completely new after like 10th take or something like that. And it was soul crushing. I wonder if what was the worst thing that you've heard that was like so discouraging and hard to, because you're in the moment, and I believe that for an actor it's hard if you hear something like that, it's like hard to pick up, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, that doesn't make any sense. Try something completely different.
Yeah.
It's written a certain way. I mean, the parameters around what you're doing is like,
Hmm.
I'm still doing a scene or I'm playing a character. Like, what do you mean? Like, I think if I got a note like that, I would just like, I would be facetious and I would do something insane. I would sing all my lines. I would just make up
Right.
music to go, and then he would say cut, or she, and I'd say, well, you said something completely different. That's completely different.
Right. What was your worst direction that
I
you've
think
heard from a director?
I've I, mm,
That
I
crushed
think
you?
directors, well, uh, I've had
Not
like
a secret.
really experiences with like theater directors like Andre Serban.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I remember
Right.
being on stage and I was Cleant and the Miser, and Sherry Jones played my sister, and it was an amazing cast. And Elvin
Hmm.
Epstein was the Miser. And
Ooh.
anyway, I was on stage and I was doing it was the last preview, and I was doing this, I was doing my thing, and people were laughing, and thought it was great. And I came off stage and he said, "What you just did out there, what you're doing out there is exactly what I hate."
Oh no.
And I went home and I was crushed, and I was up all night, and then I got to the theater the next day, and he could tell that I was just distraught. And he said, "Steve," he said, when and we're doing Moliere, so it's a
Hmm.
farce, right?
Yeah.
And he said, "If you're going to lie, lie.
Right.
Don't pretend to lie.
Hmm.
That's being an amateur. We all know you're lying, but lie. Convince me that you're not lying."
Hmm.
And I thought, wow, that's the best advice I think I've ever gotten from a director ever. It's like, tell the truth all the time. What
Hmm.
I was doing was sending it up. I was like, no, Father, there's no way I would do that. I was indicating to the audience that I was
Hmm.
lying,
Hmm.
as opposed to saying, no, Father, I would never do that, ever. Right? Like, I
Right.
tell
Absolutely different.
be honest. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's the key. That's the key to all this stuff. That's the key to comedy. It's the key to everything. Just tell the truth.
Hmm.
You know, trust your audience. Don't don't play to stupid people. Fuck them if they don't get it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they're just gonna imitate the people around them. Like, if somebody laughs, I'll go, oh yeah, you know. And the same thing goes for writing, right? Or directing. It's
Hmm.
like make it for people that are bright, and let everybody else follow.
Right.
But the problem, I think, sometimes we try to tell a story that and try everybody. Does that work? Okay. We try to make a story for everybody,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
was like, no, make it for everybody. I mean, sometimes when I'm doing a comedy, I'm doing it right now. I go like, I'm just trying to make myself laugh. I'm not worried about other people. And if I'm telling the truth, right, then it doesn't matter if you laugh or not. If I'm trying to get laughs, don't get laughs, it's horrible. But if I'm not trying to get laughs, I'm just playing a character,
Right.
and you don't laugh, that's fine. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not looking for your laugh, basically. Like, I'm gonna do it
Right.
even if you're
I'm just
laughing
playing.
at.
Right. It's the truth in the moment.
Wow.
You might find it funny.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. I remember like doing a play called Suburbia. Eric Bogosian wrote it. And it's like brilliant. And then I did the movie with Richard Linklater. And when we did the play, it's like Eric is one of those writers that like, it's so funny, but it's so wrong at the same, and you laugh at his stuff and you're like, I shouldn't be laughing at this.
Right.
But it's I love stuff like that. The White Lotus was like that. You're laughing at stuff that's horrible.
Well, yeah. The difference between the how does guy's name? Sean and Kai, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling. Okay, so a little
Yeah.
bit to the lighter subject. I've heard you have played on the stage with Jack Black and Neil Diamond. Who you? Can you tell me about that? Ed told me.
Oh yeah. We did that movie
Yeah,
Saving
Saving
Silverman.
Silverman.
And then it was so brilliant. At the end of the movie, we get to play with him on stage, and it was his band, and we learned the song and we played with him, and it was Holly Holy, which is a great song. And then we had a party. We had an opening night premiere party, and I think it was at the House of Blues. It was like
Right.
it's insane. And Neil played, and we went out and played with Neil. It was really fun. And Jack is a really accomplished musician. I mean, he's great. He's a great singer. He's a great guitarist. I'm a he would, but I'm not a musician. He is multi-talented, but that was a thrill, man. Neil gave me his banjo. That's hanging down on my wall.
Wow.
Yeah, he signed it, and he was like, "Well, you can make this." Saying I'm gonna give it up, and I was like, I'm never gonna play this. He's like, why? I go, you signed it, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it
He
under
was
the
like, go
glass.
play it. I'm like, no, you're a legend. You shouldn't have signed it, man.
Yeah.
So funny.
So funny. I don't know, like the Saving Silverman is like the Jack Black's thing.
Yeah, we were. When that happened, we were rehearsing, and we were rehearsing without walkie-talkies.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when we were rehearsing the scene, we were like going over, dude, and then. So when Jack and I were doing the scene, I was like, dude, we have to do the like, and then we just improvised that stuff. Like, you don't have to do the. It's like,
this is the last time.
It's the last time. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Oh, dude, that was so fun. God dang, man. Oh, it was so fun. It was a great.
You funnily enough, once there was a funny thing that you said once. I wish I could be typecast again. I think you were referring to be cast as a stoner guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you still wish that? And why would you say that? Like, what was the reason that you said that?
Well, I mean, being typecast is not a bad thing. I mean, that's a goal, isn't it? I mean, it's like, and when you're typed, then you can always break the mold, right? Like now I'm the dad guy, right? I play all the dad. and then eventually, and then I'll play something like I'm playing Unrighteous Gemstones right now, and then people go like, "Holy shit!"
This guy.
As if you get like rediscovered. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So it's kind of cool, So I don't know. Yeah, like I was typecast as a stoner, and I loved doing those parts. Those were great. I loved playing the idiot. Playing the idiot was, and it still is. I love playing the idiot. I'm more comfortable doing that than some really brilliant, smart guy.
I'll go ahead and ask, what's your, like, the genre that you would try and tackle that you haven't yet? I really want to make this kind of movie, kind of.
Well, I just because of the stuff I watched. I mean, I've done westerns before, but they're just so much fun. I love doing them. Any kind of like a war movie or that kind of stuff is really a blast for me, just because it's the kind of stuff that I grew up watching. So if I can be in a movie that replicates what or just what I liked as a kid, it's great. It's fun. It's awesome.
Right. Cool.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm open to anything.
Right. This is so interesting. I don't know. Like, I always ask people. My last question is always like, if they wear multiple hats, like, what would be the best thing for them? So my question for you would be, you do like both television and feature film and voice over acting. Like, if you have to choose to do only one sort of them for the rest of your life and you're not allowed to do any other thing, what would it be for you?
Yeah, I think the TV right now is the most interesting. It's that stuff that's really kind of this 6-part series where you can really dig deep into a character.
Right.
And I really like doing those. I think it's really, these limited series. It's really interesting. And that's where the most challenging stories are coming from right now. Movies that it's either a $200 million budgeted,
blockbuster
superhero movie, or it's tiny,
right.
It's a really small independent film. But I don't know. I mean, I'm going to do a movie called Leroy, like in September, and it's probably, I don't know, $6 million,
right,
$5 million. I don't know, which is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money, depending on the movie. So,
right.
But I can't help it. I can't help but do those. They're so much fun. And that script is amazing. So,
would you tackle like a period drama, like, I don't know,
sure,
Europe, 18th, 19th century, something?
Yeah, totally. Cool. I would love that.
Really?
That's
okay.
Well, I'm a big history buff. That's all I do. That's all I read. That world is something that people don't associate me with, right? Yet that's all I read. That's all I'm really interested in. I'm the guy who's metal detecting and finding arrowheads, and like I'm that guy. I'm always looking for Indian mounds and old grist mills, and and I live in Kentucky. It's just rich history.
Cool.
So it's that stuff that I adhere to, and yet I'm not your go-to Civil War guy.
Right.
As an actor. Right.
I'm asking for myself. I have a script. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Limited
period.
Series.
I'm in.
Yeah. Period. Limited series. I don't like.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's gonna cut out before I'm gonna thank you for this. Yeah.
Okay. You got it.
Yeah, I'm like,
right.
The time went by just like this. I was so into everything that you said. Thank you so much.
Well, cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, You're welcome, and I'll see you down the road.
Yeah, hope so.
Keep writing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You will. All right. All right, we'll see you.
See you. As you can see, I'm in a new setting. This is a new setting for season 2. I'm ending season 1 with this episode, but I will come back after a little break. I'm not gonna be away for too long, but I will keep recording and we'll put out more episodes for season 2 very soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon for season 2.
12 Hours in the Future is produced by Jim Carney, Maria Sanchir, and we had technical help from Yves Dessous. Special thanks to Professor Tom O'Hanlon, Dean James Mann, Professor Stephanie Stowe, and Ed Stone. The executive producer and host of 12 Hours in the Future is Maria Sanchir. 12 Hours in the Future with Maria Sanchir is a series of conversations recorded with the resources of Lehman College, City University of New York. You can find us everywhere podcasts are available and on YouTube. This show is protected under international copyright and may not be recorded or retransmitted without written consent. Until next time, when we see you 12 hours in the future.